good, YouTube? Welcome back to our channel. And I'm joined tonight by my co-host, Mr. Jack of Jordans.
What up, though?
What up, though? I'm your host tonight, Mr. Retro CG in the building. Shout out to everyone. Happy 4th of July. And tonight we are here to talk about P-Valley. It's season 2, episode 205, White Knights. Man, I wish the rest of the crew was in here. Man, I wish the rest of the crew was in here.
It's a lot to unpack this episode.
It is a lot to unpack. First thoughts, what you think about it?
I had mixed thoughts about it at first. You know, I still think that it was a real important episode, but to me, it still was a filler episode. But it was a filler episode with a great message. You know, with the great message, it kind of touched on like things that go behind closed doors and the backstories. I didn't really expect the origin story right now, you know, especially when there's so many other things they can touch on. But I'm happy they did this origin story. It was important.
Well, I think the reason why this was so important is because of the domestic violence portion of it. And it's such domestic violence is something that needs to have a very strong message that is constantly sent out. You know, because a lot of times when we have domestic violence in shows like this, they typically do have a show or episode or two that's centered just around domestic violence. But what was disappointing was this is probably like the second or third episode that has been kind of centered around the domestic violence with no resolution. Right. Like it's time for Keyshawn to get out of captivity. So the episode starts off with well, first of all, Uncle Clifford narrates this entire show, so that's pretty neat. Didn't really
he's a good narrator too, man.
Yeah, he's a great narrator. I didn't really expect Uncle Clifford to narrate the entire show. It would have been nice if Keyshawn would have narrated some parts of it to kind of give us a little more insight on some of the things that we were seeing. We'll get to that when we start talking about some of those scenes. So the episode starts off with
Really be happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Really Be TV. We miss you. She said she's supporting from the bushes.
Yeah. She's still watching.
Oh, that's right. She's watching the episode. Okay, yeah, we'll catch up because we got to talk. So the episode starts off with them at Club Sapphire, and they're having a Legends Ball, and they are honoring the legendary strippers, Gigi McGuire, Jessica Dime, Miami Tip, and Joseline Hernandez. Great. I like the fact that they're paying homage to the girls, but God, Joseline, her acting is terrible.
It was atrocious, man. It was bad. She just seemed like she just felt nothing but discomfort being in front of those cameras.
So still,
with her and all people, all she got to do is just be herself.
Yeah, that's all she had to do was be herself. What was she on? Love and Hip Hop? Wasn't this bad on Love and Hip Hop?
I mean, all she had to do was just be herself. Like you kind of like in a familiar element.
You're not out of character. You're not out of character.
The hardest thing to do is, or to be something that you're not. We know you're not an actress, so just be yourself. You was placed in this position. It was easy
to be yourself.
To be yourself. I don't get it. Whatever.
I don't get it either. It was weird. So Keyshawn is backstage and she's getting dressed, and Rome is on the phone, you know, trying to negotiate a deal for her for some wigs. Which she was so excited about that opportunity for the wig line. With those lace front wigs. Yeah. So and we'll get into it a little bit later as to why she was so excited about the whole wig opportunity. And so, you know, she's getting dressed or whatever the case may be. He's got a couple of, you know, test units for her to try on. You're like, why don't you wear one of them tonight? And they're all these psychedelic colors. But, you know, she was like ghetto. And I'm like, well, this is not any different than what you've been wearing. You've been wearing green hair, pink, blue, blue and yellow hair. I mean, so I didn't know why you think that the wigs were a little ghetto. So she's looking at the wigs and everything, and Rome picks up a blonde one, and he says, "Hey, you never worn this one before." So she puts the blonde wig on. Oh, lost Jack of Jordans. So she puts the blonde wig on, and she's kind of like not really sure if she's feeling the blonde wig or whether or not she likes the blonde wig. Basically, kind of like what we talked about last week's episode was, Keyshawn is battling with colorism a little bit, and she feels as though because her complexion is dark, she's not attractive. Well, there's moments where she feels like she's not attractive, and there's certain things that she can't wear or certain things that don't look good on her. And so Rome kind of reassures her that the wig looks good on her, and that she's sexy, she's chocolate, everything looks good on her. So she puts the wig on. You could tell she was a little bit reluctant about putting the wig on, but she ended up putting the wig on anyway to get ready for tonight's performance. And so Rome is also at the same time kind of like building her up and kind of like making her feel comfortable with her new fame, and pretty much telling her that she's getting ready to be rich, and she's going to blow up, and it's because of him that she's blowing up. So it shoots to Lil Murder and Big Teak. They're kind of sitting in like one of the VIP areas at Club Sapphire, and a bottle girl comes over and gives them a bottle of Ciroc on the house from Blue Guap. Of course, Lil Murder is a little bit salty at the fact that he isn't a part of tonight's performance. He felt as though this was an opportunity for him to perform Mississippi Pride with Keyshawn. And Teak is like, man, they ain't want to hear that here, no ATL club or whatever. And he was like talking about how one of the samples from Mississippi Pride is from a song from ATL. So he kind of like, a little salty. Yeah, you back, bro. So he's kind of a little salty at the fact that he's not performing. Once again, Lil Murder is on the outside, and all these things are happening around him, and he's not part of that. So Rome comes over, and he's pretty much bragging about how he got this all set up for Mississippi, and tonight's her night, and blah blah blah. And out comes Joseline, who's flying into the club and dropping stacks.
Yo, what you think about that scene lit when that part happened?
Yeah, what you think about that scene though?
The fairy godmother.
Yeah.
I actually like with that scene. I think it was kind of it seemed like it might have been inspiration to Mississippi, but it may have not been an inspiration to Mississippi, because it was kind of like it's kind of like telling her that she's more than what you seem to be. And it was kind of paying, I guess, kind of opening the door to the future. Let me introduce you to the future of stripping, I guess. Mississippi is the future.
More so, I think Joseline's whole role was to kind of bring out that confidence in her, bring out that you're more than just a stripper. They're always going to look at you like that, but capitalize off of this. You're successful, you're talented or whatever. Make this money, get this money, and don't let all this other stuff drag you down in this world.
She gave her a Cardi B quote.
Yeah, she gave her a Cardi B quote. She pretty much gave her flowers. Yeah. And so she does an amazing performance. Of course, whenever Mississippi hits the pole, she always gives us an amazing performance. So she never falls short of that. She does her thing.
That Mississippi experience, good.
Yeah, she ain't got nothing on the Mississippi, the Mercedes experience. She doesn't have anything on the Mercedes experience. They're both kind of equally talented, but in different perspectives.
Yeah.
The Mercedes experience is more of a seductive, I'm going to captivate you. The Mississippi experience is more like I'm going to entertain you. I'm going to wow you.
That's because of the setting that they put in. I think Mississippi can pull it off. Don't get it twisted. I think Mississippi can pull. I think she can pull it off. It's because of the setting. You got the setting with Farrah. You know, when they doing their thing, you put Mississippi in that same situation. I think she'll be able to. Well, we see Mississippi in the situation that Mercedes was in because that's how she.
Well, part of that is I feel like part of that shows through her performance a little bit simply because she's not in touch with her sexuality so much as Mercedes. Mercedes, you know, she knows that she a dime. And she feel like she a dime, and she wants the rest of the world to acknowledge that she's a dime. So it shows through her performance. Mississippi, on the other hand, she knows that she's talented. She knows that she got good pole skills, but at the same time, she doesn't add that extra flair of sexuality to it. You know, seductiveness.
This episode kind of touch on that too.
Yeah, the episode kind of touches on that.
This episode kind of touching that too.
So it kind of from there, it kind of flashes to her back in high school, which we later on realized this was just 3 years ago. So this was just 3 years ago. She was getting out of high school and everything, and she's trying out for the cheer squad, the cheerleading squad, and she's not so good. She doesn't have balance. You know, she's kind of clumsy a little bit, you know, and it's hard to see where she was 3 years ago as to where she is now, where she's this whole acrobatic, you know. She's doing all this.
I was wondering, like, I had missed the time frame. I was wondering about that too, because of course I looked at her shoes and she had on some Air Max 270s, and I was like, wait a minute, how she got on Air Max 270s? You know, I was wondering about the window. I was like, ain't no way she's supposed to have on Air Max 270s, but that's neither here nor there.
No, yeah, right. And the reason why I put together the timeline that is 3 years old is because her son Jaden is 3 years old. She was pregnant with she was 8 months pregnant with him when Derrick first abused her. So from that time frame, I come up with 3 years. So we meet Gidget. We meet Gidget. So Gidget is what is she like? Their coach?
Yeah, she probably like the cheerleading coach or the cheerleading leader.
So we meet Gidget. And we meet Derrick. We also learned that Derrick is also part of the cheerleading team or whatever the case may be, which that was odd. I really didn't expect that from him. I would have thought he would have been on the football team. So that was very interesting to see.
But the crazy thing is it makes sense. Like we all been in high school before, you know, and I knew.
Oh, I think I lost you again. Uh-oh. You froze. Yeah, so Derrick is actually part of the cheerleading squad. So that was very interesting to see. And of course, he and Keyshawn kind of meets. And he actually starts off as you know, someone that's kind of encouraging to her and kind of supports her efforts in wanting to be a part of the team. Whereas, you know, her sister, her half-sister, Alicia, actually comes and performs, and she makes the squad. So Keyshawn is feeling a little defeated about, you know, not being able to make the tryouts and not become a part of the team. So she's kind of feeling down, and, you know, she's kind of like sitting on a bench chilling. And this dude walks up and he says, you know, he's trying to holler at her or whatever the case may be. He's trying to holler at her, and pretty much she kind of brushes him off like, look, I'm not interested, you know, and she wasn't really in the mood for that at the time anyway. And he kind of insults her. He was like, well, you better get out the sun because you already look like a black fried chicken nugget. And I'm like, huh? Like, how? It's crazy to even think that they would make her the unattractive one. Like, she's beautiful. Like, Keyshawn is beautiful. And I don't understand why she's the ugly girl or she's treated like the ugly girl. So her self-esteem is very low. We can see this from the beginning of all of this. Her self-esteem is real low. And so Derrick actually walks up and approaches old dude and tell her, yo, leave her alone. Like, you know, she don't want to be bothered, whatever the case may be. And the football player, I don't even know what the dude's name was. The football player was like, well, what are you going to do about it, white boy? And, you know, he starts going off on him or whatever. And so Derrick kind of like turns and walks away from the situation. And dude takes and spits in the back of his head. I'm like, yo. He asked for it. I mean, that was something that was just disrespectful, beyond disrespectful. So Derrick turns around, he starts beating the shit out of old dude. Like, he beat the hell out of him. And old boy was pinned down on the ground. Derrick was giving it to him and going to work on him. His friends come up and try to pull Derrick off of. He kicks one of the dudes off, punches the other dude off, and he go back to work on old boy. So right there, we see that Derrick has his crazy white boy racist strength that he tapped into. He's got this Super Saiyan bigot strength that he got. And he beats the shit out of old dude. So at that point, you got your problem fixed. So at that point,
yeah, I fixed my problem. I pretty much had to run it off.
Okay.
Let me touch on the spitting thing real quick. You deserve every bit of an ass whooping if you spit on somebody. Every time I see you, we shooting this fade each and every last time until one of us moves to a different city or a different state. There's only one thing that might be more disrespectful than spitting on somebody, and that's pissing on them. Every time I see you, it's on sight.
Yep.
He deserved that ass whooping, and every ass whooping he get after that.
Yeah, he did. But in this moment, Keyshawn sees him as her benefactor. She sees him as, okay, this dude, he's kind to me. He's protecting me. He's defending me. He's everything that I want to be. And so what did you think about the whole situation between them where later on the three guys are getting suspended and he's not? What did you think about that?
Well, a couple of things here. For one, I feel as though by Mississippi, by Keyshawn coming from a different city, different school, I know people that know how that is. She probably already felt as though she didn't fit. She just kind of make herself look like an ass. Then she just had somebody just stand up for her. She already going through it. We can talk about that later, in the home front. She's going through that. So it kind of hints the story, the title. It made the title fit perfect. Like I saw that scene, I understood why the title was the title. As far as the suspension go and stuff like that, unfortunately, that's kind of the way it is, and it's kind of the way it is in sports. Unfortunately, would it come down to, hey, we need a 5-time cheerleading championship, and we need this dude to win the cheerleading championship. It goes just beyond, the skin tone, because that's part of it.
It was a combination of both. I think it was a combination.
That's what I'm saying. It's part of it, but it's, we only got this good thing going. That's the cheerleading thing, and if he's our best, he's our best shot at winning this title again. We kind of need him, and the privilege part.
I don't necessarily think he deserved to be suspended anyway. I mean, that was kind of like self-defense, Even though we don't like Derrick, we don't see it for Derrick at all, but you spit on me, so I'm sorry.
I mean, yeah, but when it comes down, I don't know. I wish we had really B on here. I don't know. When it comes down to the school, maybe he should have got a less egregious punishment.
Yeah.
But something, you still were, fighting something.
Yeah.
If somebody punched me in school and I decided to fight them back, we both getting suspended. Somebody might get suspended for 5 days, and I might only get suspended for 1, but we both getting suspended.
Right.
Yeah.
So then it flashes to her at-home life, and we learn that Keyshawn didn't come from, a destitute situation. She came from money. She lived right. She lived in a nice home. She had a nice family. She had the appearance of a nice family. And so we learn, we meet her other stepsister. So we got Alicia, and then we got Veronica. And, they seem to all get along. The three of them seem to all get along. So I was very glad to see that the sisters didn't treat her poorly, too, because that would have just been even worse. Like, I feel real bad for Keyshawn, but I'm still mad at her because she put a gun on Diamond. But the girl has been going through since the beginning of her life. Her life hasn't been picture perfect. So she gets a pass because of her backstory. We meet her stepmom, who's a big bitch. And it's clear that the stepmother is more so, how do I want to say this? She's all for her daughters. She's all for her daughters. She doesn't care about there's two of you.
It is two of me.
So the stepmother is more so concerned about her daughters and not Keyshawn, because if you notice, when she was fixing lemonade as Keyshawn was doing Veronica's hair, she pulled out 2 glasses to fix the lemonade. And then when Keyshawn, because the stepmom made a comment to something to the effect of, "I'm raising 2 girls," and Keyshawn was like 3. Then she went and pulled the 3rd glass out to fix the lemonade for the girls. So, and obviously is good at doing hair or has aspirations on wanting to be a hairstylist. I think part of that comes from the fact that her hair isn't nice and long. And so she enjoys doing other people's hair that has nice long hair or whatever the case may be. I think that's the impression that they were trying to give us with that. And so the mother is like, Keyshawn, you need to go to cosmetology school. And she was like, my dad would never be satisfied with that or whatever the case may be. And somehow in her comments, the comments her stepmother was making, they were kind of like, supportive to the sisters. Oh, they're in pageants, they're in this, they're in that. And Keyshawn is just treated like the help. She ends up burning her sister's hair. And the stepmom goes the fuck off. She was like, "Oh, you just burned her. You took the most beautiful thing away from her. You took away.
I should have never trusted you with this and this and that.
Such a precious thing and all this." And Keyshawn's like, "Well, I can fix it. Maybe a little quick weave. I can fix it. She don't need no weave like you." And so,
you could see
the mother is just so disrespectful towards her. It is so.
I stood about the bed like, hold on, bitch, we about to get ready to discuss this. I was mad.
Everything that's this late. I can't think of what the actress name is that's playing the stepmom, but I've seen her in other stuff. Everything that she plays is snooty, sedity type, uppity, light skinned, better than everyone else type character. And I don't.
You had the light skinned in there though. I appreciate that. You had the light skinned.
But that's how she acts. I ain't saying that all light skinned people act like that. She acts like because she's light skinned that she walks on water. And you ain't trying to lighten up the place. You're trying to lighten up the place.
Right.
That's what she said, the beauty shop. I don't like her at all. So we learned
she a real weird one in this one.
We learned in this situation that she has married Keyshawn's father. And so they're a blended family now. And the father is some type of businessman. He's off doing his thing, so he's rarely ever home. So it's just her and the girls most of the time. And this mother wants to paint this narrative that they have this picture-perfect life, and Keyshawn's father, James, loves her more than life and all this. And Keyshawn is just kind of on the outskirts of all this, and just kind of feeling out of place, feeling unloved, unwelcome in her stepmother's life. I really didn't like that. I really didn't
Me either. Me either, but it's more reality than anything, though, unfortunately.
So the next day at school, you see Alicia coming through and whatever. You see all the boys, they're kind of chasing after her. They're gearing up to go to this ball that they have. And because it's Mississippi, and even though it was 3 years ago, so we're saying even in this time, there were segregation. We were still dealing with segregation. I didn't quite understand that point because I feel like at this point we're in maybe, are we supposed to be like late 90s? Are we supposed to be in the late 90s?
But we're still talking about the South though. So I can't really speak. I can't really. I could probably sense some segregation that probably still goes on in the South. But yeah, it's the South. It's kind of like the mothership of where the shit came from.
So the girls they're all sitting there having lunch or whatever the case may be, and Veronica's like, "Well, you must not be trying to go to the dance because every dude that's trying to." She's saying this to Alicia. She was like, "Every dude that's asking you out, you're saying no." So she's trying to play hard to get, but she's also known to be a hoe around school.
And that's the word.
Yeah, her sister tells her it's on the bathroom stall on the third floor.
You get that great sloppy toppy. That's what we. So, I'm telling you, when you explain your thought process, it's something different. We heard.
But it's nice to see that all those girls, even though they're in a situation where segregation is kind of forced upon them, the black kids are going to have their dance, the white kids are going to have their dance. But you see the four of them all have a friendship. They're friends with Gidget, they're friends with Keyshawn. They all get along. So they're not not letting the troubles on the outside and everyone else's feelings affect their friendship. So I did kind of like that fact that they treated Gidget nicely, and they also treated Keyshawn nicely. So it wasn't necessarily them. It was just the situation that they came up in with their families and all that stuff. So later on, Keyshawn, she's walking home and it's starting to rain. And of course, her white knight pulls up in his Prius that he still drives to this day. We've seen him in other episodes driving his Prius before, so he's still driving it to this day. He pulls up in his Prius and offers her a ride home. And she's like, well, what if I don't want to go home? And so next it shoots to them at Taffy's. And this must be the place to go to in Chucalissa because they've shown everybody at Taffy's.
That's the spot. Yeah, that's the spot.
That's the spot. So who do we meet at Taffy's? Pastor Woodbine. Pastor Woodbine is waiting tables at Taffy's.
That is funny.
That was funny. Pastor Woodbine come up to her and be like, yo, you can order something else. He gonna pay for it. He can afford it. You are gonna pay for the meal, right? But they have an interesting conversation here too, because this is where I think Derrick starts to let Keyshawn know that he's kind of feeling her a little bit. And he makes a comment that if I was taking you out on a date, I would take you somewhere like here. He'd start naming off some places that he would take her. And she says, would you take me home? And he didn't answer. So we kind of know that his family would be feeling him bringing a black girl home.
Yeah, he definitely deflected on that.
He deflected real quick.
yeah, he already knew what time it was.
She takes notice to a bruise by his eye, and he kind of plays it off. Well, we learn a lot. We start to learn a lot about Derrick in this particular scene because he makes a comment about his father thought he was gay because he was cheering. And he had won a scholarship for college because of, I guess, the cheerleading or whatever. And then he quickly kind of plays it off like, well, my family can afford it, but, since I got a scholarship, why not take the full ride instead? Basically, he's low-key implying that his father is not pleased with him making the decision to want to be a cheerleader.
Going to cheerleading, yeah.
Yes. And his father is abusive towards him because of it.
Mm-hmm.
Or it could be a combination of both. His father's just downright abusive, period. And he beats on him because he's a cheerleader as well. So that was a very interesting thing to learn in that situation. So they're back at the house and they're putting up the Christmas decorations or whatever. And the girls are all decorating the tree. And the mama comes down with some more decorations. And one of the sisters asked her, how did you and James meet? And she paints this fairy tale picture that apparently she was a flight attendant, and she was like, "Oh, I met him on this flight, and I served him his drink, and it was love at first sight." And Keyshawn was like, "You missing the part where you served my mother first." So in other words,
right.
So in other words, you just didn't meet.
Keep it all the way funky.
You met this man as a married man and you seduced him and you took away my family. And so the mother kind of plays it off and she was like, well, everything doesn't look the way it appears, Keyshawn. You don't know all the details regarding the situation, which I'm not going to say that it's all her fault because obviously the father, he's kind of like, he ain't right either. So, it's not necessarily, I don't want to necessarily say it's the stepmother's fault that, their family broke up. But in Keyshawn's eyes, she looks at it that. And she pretty much tells her where
that's all she sees. That's the perspective of you got to remember she's high school. So that's the perspective of a high schooler. That's all she sees.
Yeah. She's like, basically, you're a home wrecker turned homemaker. And so the stepmom gets mad, throws some mashed potatoes at her and calls her a bitch, and she throws a basket of bread at her. They have a whole food fight.
Yeah, they was doing too much. She was wrong for throwing them. Well, I mean, they both was kind of
petty.
They both was kind of wrong. Yeah, they both was petty.
So we switch back to present day. We're at the club, and Joseline comes up and she meets Keyshawn, and she gives her card, and she pretty much gives her that words of encouragement about, yeah, you might be a stripper, and that's all they're gonna ever see you as a stripper. But horning on your talent, horning on this opportunity that you have, make this money, and make something out of yourself. Pretty much, I think that's what
she say. A hoe never gets cold. What she say?
Yeah, a hoe never gets cold.
A hoe never gets cold.
She's still holding up against Cole.
Yeah. I mean, I get that scene because Joseline is, she's Joseline. How many times we've seen her turn around from a woman from where Joseline was at to where she's, to where she's at now. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, and
the words of encouragement was needed.
We were talking about that earlier about the South being decades behind. It's just crazy to think that 3 to 4 years ago that we were still dealing with segregation. That's crazy. So it switches back to the past, and they're getting ready for the dance that night, and we finally meet Keyshawn's father, James, and he's taking pictures of the girls with their dates and everything, and he wants to go get in the pictures with the girls. And he grabs Alicia and kind of pulls her close and gives her a little kiss on the head. So we see a little bit of maybe there might be something going on between the father and Alicia, especially with the fact that Alicia has this, she's known for being a hoe. So are they implying here in this situation that he was kind of messing around with the sister too?
Could be.
Keyshawn. Okay, so I guess we're not the only one that picked up on that. Then Keyshawn did too. Yeah, I felt that vibe.
Could be.
I felt like James was messing with that girl.
Yeah,
he was touching her. He was touching her where he didn't need to be touching her.
Yeah, could be.
He didn't even need to kissing her either. So there's a knock at the door. The stepmom thinks that it's the chauffeur that's coming to take the girls away. And who is it? It's the White Knight himself, who shows up with a full dress and outfit for Keyshawn. What did you think about that?
In my head, when I first saw that, I was like, why social media blow this up? Talking about, that's right, girl. He pulls up and he has the dress and this, that, and the other. He just says, let's go.
That's
and
a problem. Right there.
But that's today's social media. That's a whole other story. I digress. But I also was thinking like, yo, the balls on this kid.
Yeah, but see, that's crazy because there are parts and pockets of Derrick that I actually like about his character. And then, of course, the worst thing that we like about him is the fact that he's controlling, he's abusive, but he wasn't afraid to show everyone that he cared for her.
Yeah. That's what I was saying.
Because he brought her to that whole party. She was the only black person there, and he didn't care.
Yeah.
His own mama, he was getting ready to kiss her in front of his own mama, and the mama was him like, "You better not kiss this black girl."
That's what I was like. Look at the balls on this kid, man. Like he just let it all out. Like I'm pulling up. You know what I'm saying? Like you know I'm pulling up. I don't care who in the house, who in the spot. I'm pulling up. I got this dress. I got these shoes, and we out.
Yeah, that stepmama she was mean as fuck for real. She was just like extra mean. And I don't understand why she was so mean to Keyshawn other than the fact that she wasn't light-skinned, but her daughters weren't that light-skinned either. So I mean, I don't understand why you make a child feel
she was mean to Keyshawn because it wasn't her daughter.
I guess so, but that also wasn't your husband. So what's the difference?
No, it wasn't. But she benefited more from the husband than she do from Keyshawn. Like it's not your daughter. It's not your responsibility.
Well, let me ask you this: you think the mama was gold digging? You think the stepmama was gold digging?
Absolutely.
Okay, that's the impression I got.
Absolutely, because of her character, I absolutely think that she was gold digging, and she went from serving drinks to being a flight attendant on Spirit.
Yep.
to you know what I'm saying, to the deluxe apartment in the sky. Like
she was flying on Spirit because I hardly doubt the Spirit serving drinks. I don't know. I've never flown on Spirit before.
She went from Frontier. She went from Frontier to now you got this, you got this big ass house. Yeah, you definitely saw the money you pursued, and then he probably had some shit going on in his house that he wasn't happy with, which made it easier for her to climb right on in.
I wish they would have gave us just a little bit more insight. If you're gonna give us her backstory, I wish you could explain what the situation was with her mom.
I ain't saying she a gold nigga.
Yeah. I ain't saying she a gold digger.
Yeah, she ain't messing with the broke.
Right.
Broke, bro. I'm just saying.
Right, Keyshawn. Yo,
I'm just saying.
Yo, but you would have to think though that there was something else that was broken with her mother for her to end up with the father. You know, maybe the mother was on drugs, maybe she was hoeing, maybe she was tricking. I don't want to put that on her mom, but obviously there was something that was broken about her mom where she ended up having custody with her father and going with her father instead of staying with her mom.
Right.
So it's after the dance, they're walking to their car, whatever the case may be, and it starts snowing, and Keyshawn is so excited about it's snowing or whatever the case may be, and they have their first intimate moment together. I guess it's safe to say that she probably conceived that night, and you know, she's just living this fairy tale world and thinking that he is telling her about his family and his mother and how they feel towards black people or whatever, and he's still taking that chance to be with her. So she's bitten by this fact that this dude really loved me and he don't care what the rest of the world thinks. So that drew her in right there. That drew her in, and she got tunnel vision from that moment forward. And when he put it on her in the backseat of that car, that was it. That was all. She had them fell in love. She gets home and she actually beats her sister's home. And here she is worried about breaking curfew, and she beat the sister's home.
You want to know why she beat her sister's home?
Why?
Especially why she beat Alicia home. You know why she beat Alicia home.
Alicia was going to after prom with her daddy.
She was probably out giving that Gawk 3000. That's what she probably is out there doing.
I think Alicia went to the prom with her stepdaddy. So the mama, she on the couch, she drunk as fuck, she mad. She seems like she always angry all the time. I guess she know that her husband probably out sleeping around on her too. And even though she gold digging and whatever, she live in this nice big fine house, she also know that she ain't enough to keep her man at home either. So she's always upset. She's always thinking that I'm gonna be next, that he's gonna leave. So that's always in the back of her mind. That she gonna come home and her man's gonna be with another woman. She made a comment that I wish Keyshawn would have paid attention to her. But even though she was mean as fuck, she did give her a bit of advice.
She dropped a gem. Yeah, she dropped a gem.
She said, "Be careful of a man that is controlling you to a point where he's bringing you clothes and telling you what to wear, how to dress, how to wear your hair, all that. That's a sign. You better be careful.
Big red flag.
This ain't gonna work out the way you think it's gonna work out." And of course, if she would have showed her just a little bit more affection, if she would have showed her just a little bit more kindness, Keyshawn probably would have horned in on that advice.
Yeah, I think if it wasn't for previous encounters, then maybe they probably would have had a completely different conversation when she said that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Keyshawn says she got to know that her husband is cheating, and I wouldn't be surprised if she's aware that of his advances with the daughter. Hey, that's a good point, Keyshawn. We actually talked about that off camera. Me and Juggernaut talked about that earlier today off camera, that we felt as though she probably knew that her husband was messing with her daughter at the same time. And this is the South, stuff like that went on in black households. And, the women kind of like turn a blind eye to it as long as their man came in home, as long as they had their money and their comfort.
She want that money.
Yeah, she wanted that money.
Probably why she dialed her daughters up.
Exactly. We've seen this in other shows where that's happened, where the mothers kind of push the daughters to the forefront. Where he didn't want me, he want you. So you got to take care of the family.
I was about to get ready to say that.
You're the reason why
we're a younger version of me. He wants the younger one.
Exactly.
He wants a younger version. So you're that. You got to stay pretty and this, that, and the other. You can't be messing this up.
It was in a Tyler Perry movie with Lynn Whitfield.
It was, yeah. Jesus Christ.
What was it? Was it the one with Blair?
Was that the one with Shamar Moore in there too?
No, it was the one with Blair Underwood, and he was beating on a girl, and she was getting ready to get married, and she threw the hot grits on him. It was in that movie.
Yeah. I think Shamar Moore was in the same movie. I think I don't remember.
No, it was Medea's family reunion. It was the family reunion. Yeah. It was the family reunion where she was like, the husband asked me for you, and I gave it to him. Yep, it was the family reunion. The husband asked me for you, and I gave it to you. Like, what kind of mother are you that gives your child to your husband?
Right.
You know? So that's the vibe that I pick up from this lady right here. That she know that her husband messing with her daughter, but you know she turned a blind eye to it so she can live up in this nice, fine house in this comfort. So we back to present day. Yeah, they say it's Medea's family reunion. That's what I thought it was too. So we back to present day. Keyshawn is in her suite, and yo, the floor is covered with money. I mean, covered with money. They got the money machine. They banding up stacks. Yo,
where did all that money come from? Did it come from like the tour, or did it come from that night?
I think it's a part of it is from the tour, and I think part of it is from what she collected at that club that night at Sapphire's. And so,
I mean, she is the breadwinner.
She is the breadwinner. I mean, and of course they're playing killer still or whatever. So we saw that Woddy was the killer.
That yeah.
I was like, I said that last week. I said whoever was in the chats from last week, remember when I said it? I put it on our community. I put it on our community board and everything. So just give me my phone. I'll be seeing things. So they sitting there talking about Keyshawn is pretty much telling them about the night or whatever. Apparently Woddy had ate some bad potato salad or whatever. He got sick, so he wasn't able to come out with them that night.
The raisins in it.
They're kind of catching up on they kind of catch up Woddy on what's been going on for the night. And of course, Little Murder and Big Teak is Zeke Teak, whatever the hell he is. I think Keyshawn offers him like a chocolate covered strawberry or something. He's like, I don't want it.
Yeah.
Little Murder's like, yeah, you do. And they like, so it's funny how Keyshawn and
that conversation without the conversation.
Yeah, they have a little telepathic conversation like this.
They was on the same thing. They look at each other like, yo, and he looked like, yeah, I believe so.
And then when Woddy was like, maybe you need to get him a bitch, and Little Murder looked at him like, what you say?
Yeah.
He was like, maybe not. He was like, maybe not. So you see that I think that was
Woddy fishing.
Yeah, it was him fishing. But you see that there's conflict between Murder and Zeke. And I think the conflict is still stemming from last week. Zeke finding that postcard to Clifford. So he and his feelings about that still. So,
definitely.
They
100%.
hadn't made that right yet. They hadn't made it out. So old sleazy ass Rome comes in with some hotel keys for the fellas, and he got rooms for them or whatever. And he's still talking shit. He uses every opportunity to diminish them, to devalue them, to defame anything he can to make a Little Murder seem like he this small. He's like, well, Blue Guap don't got y'all this far, and Blue Guap don't did all this for y'all. And
if it wasn't for Woddy, you'd be staying at the Motel 6. And I'm like, listen, let this man catch this fade real quick from Big T crazy ass, and let's move forward.
He's arrogant. He's pompous. He's an asshole.
He's a jackass.
He's certified jackass. So Big T like, man, nigga, fuck you. He's like, fuck you in your room.
In your room. What the fuck?
Need your charity. I go sleep.
He like, oh, you prefer to sleep on the prison cot, huh?
Yeah, he's like, oh, this soft bed is too soft for you. You prefer to sleep on a prison cot. Whatever. Man, I would have picked up some of them stacks off the floor and went downstairs and rent my own room. How about that?
Yeah, right.
All this money around here. You talking I'm going to sleep in the
Here's my question, though. Here's my question. Where's Little Murder money?
I guess he ain't getting none.
That's what I'm like. Where is Little Murder money? Like, what is he there? He has to be getting something from this tour. I said he's making, Keyshawn money, but he has to be making something from this tour. Why? Like, this is okay. I understand you get a per diem from a record label and you get that's the money that you got to pay back, and you making money off a tour, but you get nothing.
I guess not, because you got to think of it this way. Blue Guap set up the tour. So
he did.
So it's almost kind of like Little Murder is kind of opening for Keyshawn. Even though it should be the other way around, it really should be Keyshawn opening, but technically Little Murder's not signed to a label. He's independent. So I don't know. Maybe his manager is negotiating some type of cut off the door for Lil Murder. I mean, but he should be getting paid for his performances. I agree. He definitely should be getting paid for his performance. But you haven't seen any you haven't seen him get any money from this Dirty Dozen tour. Keyshawn has got all the money.
Not nothing, but to the point where you got to sit here and like.
First
of all, you're a man first and foremost. You ain't got to sit here and eat shit from nobody, and you just keep just letting this man just run wild and say whatever the hell he want to, whatever. Man, fuck you. I gotta sleep. I put Big T.
Welcome, Kamisha Reviews. You're right. He is a hometown star. That's what he is. He's a hometown star. So he's not like out here getting endorsements and everything like Keyshawn got, because she getting money in from all other different sources.
Right, but to the point where you can't even get you a nice hotel where you got to sleep in it. Like you have to depend on him in order to get you a nice hotel. He didn't have a nice hotel over to that point where he got the room key and then Big T said whatever he said and then it just went, it just went whatever. Even by him being a home star, by me being from. Like we all got home stars in our cities where we know this person and know this person, this and another. They still get the money, coming streaming in from their city. So in my head, I'm like, really, Lil Murder is here for nothing. Lil Murder is really just here because in order to get Mississippi out, Lil Murder has to be there.
Right. And you know what?
That's what I feel like.
Until you asked that question, in my mind, I took it as they were splitting everything down the middle.
Then I split the damn thing.
Lil Murder was getting some, because even in an early episode, he kind of made a comment to Keyshawn. He's like, "Oh, you'll get mad if I start put some of this money in my pocket or whatever." So I was under the impression that they probably was split it down the middle. But I do think that Keyshawn is getting a way bigger cut than Lil Murder, if Lil Murder is getting anything.
She should. But Kamisha said something. She was like, "Well, it is COVID, so therefore, stars were being made." Whatever. But even with that, like even with that, he should be getting something to the point where he could at least afford. He might not be able to get the top
right. At this point, I think he might be just
something.
a Instagram, YouTube star, because remember, his song is not even on the radio. His song is not even on the radio, because when they heard DJ Never Scared last week on the radio, they all got excited by that. Looked at Woddy and made a comment like, "Yo, why my shit ain't on the radio?" or whatever. So it seems like Murder is trying to get to that point where he can get discovered. And if you get on this track with Meg Thee Stallion, that's going to take him to the next level where he's going to become a celebrity. I just hate that Rome not going to be around to see it, because Rome is throwing dirt on him and dogging him and dissing him so bad. But Lil Murder is going to blow up next week or whenever he get on this track with Meg Thee Stallion. Now he's going to become a household name.
Good. I want to see a Lil Murder blow up.
When you get the ATL, when they make it ATL, since the Dirty Dozen tour is now over because there's no Keyshawn anymore. So I think when he makes it to ATL, they're going to hook up with DJ Never Scared and Meg Thee Stallion, and they're going to make that hit, and that's what's going to get Lil Murder out there.
I hope so.
So we switch to the next scene. We're at this point, we're kind of flip-flopping back from present day to past. So we get to the past again, where Keyshawn is now 8 months pregnant, and she's on the couch eating a moon pie. And Derrick makes a comment about his boy. Derrick makes a comment about his boy Justin dropping off some burp rags for them. Now, Keyshawn when they make ATL, the Dirty Dozen tour is now over because Echo Keyshawn and DJ.
I got rid of it.
All right. So Keyshawn makes a little comment about the burp rags being ugly. And, at this point, she's wrong for the comments that she's making towards Derrick. However, it does not justify him assaulting her. But, a lot of that came from the fact that she was pregnant. She's frustrated. Mm-hmm. So, I don't think it was her putting her man down as much as it was her hormones. She's a little disappointed. Her fairy tale life ain't working out the way she thought it was working out. So she's a little frustrated. This was a very difficult thing right here, because I'm not going to say she deserved to be attacked, but, she also kind of invited him to do it, so to speak. Because she was talking cash shit. She was talking cash shit about their living situation. She was talking cash shit about him driving his little Prius, and she having to put gas in it. She 8 months pregnant, working at Walgreens.
I mean, as a man, you know, like she kind of took like a shot at his pride, most definitely.
Exactly.
You definitely don't want to hear that, especially coming from home, especially when you feel, you know, the way that he feels. However, also in those situations, that's when the gym is open, where you can go and sit in your car and listen to music. You could call her every name in the book once you get in the car, you know, or whatever. You know, she was wrong, but he was definitely way more wrong.
Well, okay. So, and I was gonna break this down. Well, I'll save it for the next scene where we talk about it. But yeah, she does make a comment about, you know, you ain't doing what you supposed to be doing for us. You know, we live here in this shitty ass place. You know, I'm 8 months pregnant. You ain't working. I'm working.
My dad put the money down on this duplex.
My dad put the money down on the duplex. You know, I'm putting gas in your Prius. You know, she was just making shots. And of course, for the first time, we see that he assaults her. And you know, she leaves. You know, and I think that this would have been a totally different situation had her stepmom let her in. You know,
this whole scene was cringeworthy.
It was cringeworthy because she's out here banging on the door
in the rain,
pregnant,
begging for help,
in a nightgown,
begging for help. It was bad.
If we thought that the stepmom was a piece of shit before, she definitely was a piece of shit. Yeah.
And she's like, well, your daddy agrees and all this other type of bullshit.
Yeah, in Williams, I was wondering about that too, when she was packing the Louis bag, because he even asked about it when he came by to drop off the room keys. Is the money ready yet? So, you know, she's giving all the money to Rome. So really, she probably don't gave Rome all the money at this point. She's giving Rome all the money at this point, like, in which I don't necessarily think that's not something that would be unusual for her to do. He's her manager, you know. She's a performer. Hey, hold on to our money.
Yeah, that's kind of like a natural thing. Like you pay for outfits and lighting and, you know, DJs and stuff like that. Like all that stuff kind of you got to get paid back anyway. So, you know, hotel rooms and stuff like that. That stuff got to get paid back anyway.
But it also shows, going back to Derrick, when he choked her, you know, he didn't seem to, it's almost like when he gets ready to abuse her, he kind of like loses sight of reality. And in his reality, he didn't have no consideration to the fact that this is the woman you're supposed to love that's 8 months pregnant with your child, and you're choking her near to death.
He blacked out. He had a blackout.
He blacked out.
He completely blacks out. The only thing he hears, the only thing he sees is her words at that time.
Yeah, her words.
So he just completely take that, and since those words hit because they're true, you know, she put it in like the most degrading way, but in his head they're true, and so the only strength that he has is just to use his physique, his muscles.
Yeah, I agree with that, Lauren. You know, it's frustrating because, you know, here she is pregnant and she's trying to keep a household together. You got a husband that's not working, a boyfriend or a fiance or whatever they were, that's not contributing to them getting to a better place. I'm now pregnant with a child. This is going to make things even worse now because, you know, we only got one source of income coming in. So I get the comments. It's just that, you know, sometimes when you make those type of comments to a man whose ego is already fragile, you're asking for trouble.
I'm gonna tell you one thing. I don't get the comments at all because, like, I'm one of the people that words really don't bother me. It's just depending on who the words are coming from. So the comments was definitely hurtful. I'm not saying that it was right for him to even wild out like that.
Oh, absolutely
but the comments. If this was Diamond talking crazy to him, then he probably would have just, like, you know, said some other words to him and just kind of blew it off or whatever. Or somebody else was talking crazy to him, he probably would have blew it off. You see, he was trying to blow it off when my man was talking crazy to him at the football field. If it wasn't for him spitting on him, he would have just walked away. So I think because it was coming from her, and the headspace of the situation and the frustration coming from both of them, then that's why those words landed the way that they landed. I'm telling you, like people don't think that words hurt, especially coming from his situation. I am not okaying what he did, but especially coming from his situation, those words
that you
penetrated him.
or supposed
He
to
felt
love
every bit and hung on to every bit of those words.
It goes back to, and I wasn't really going to be petty because I'm not one of those type of person that goes tick for tat with people on social media. I mean, everyone is entitled to their opinion, and I respect everyone's opinion, so it doesn't normally bother me. But let me just re-clarify something that I said last week that one of our viewers made a comment about in last week's episode. It wasn't that I was justifying Andre's behavior with Haley versus Brittany cheating with the doctor. All I am saying is exactly what we're saying in this moment, is that when you come home and see your wife sucking someone else's dick in the bed that you all share, I see nothing rage. I don't see, well, I was cheating too. So, I mean, it's okay that my wife is doing this. In that moment, in that time, what I was saying was that that's all he saw. I'm not saying that he was right and she was wrong. I'm not saying that she was right and he was wrong. They both were wrong. I mean, if you're in a marriage with someone, there should be commitment. Unless you have an understanding in your relationship and marriage that says we can see and sleep with other people, then so be it. But if we're in a monogamous relationship and we're supposed to be with one another, then cheating is not acceptable on either side. So I think this is what this is. He feels like Keyshawn should be his supporter and his encouragement, and she's not giving him that at this point. Even though she doesn't feel like she should be celebrating their current situation. Like, this is not what I signed up for. Right. So it's just two broken people is what we see. There are two broken people that are dealing with the fallout of their decisions that they made. They made
a situation where hurt people.
Yes, where hurt people. And both of them seem to have been kind of ostracized by their family because of their decision to be together. His family has kind of put him out. Her family has kind of disowned her. So now they're kind of like left with each other, and that's all you have. So you're the only person I have. I lost everything else I had because of you. Now I look to you to be my only supporter because you're all I have. Mm-hmm. So I hope that kind of clears up our comments that we make towards that, because I definitely in no way, shape, form, or fashion condone
no way
or abuse towards male or female in relationships type situation.
No way, not at all.
I don't think it's right for a woman to hit a man. I don't think it's right for a man to hit a woman, period.
Not at all.
Because if you that angry, you that hurt, just walk the fuck away. It's like nobody needs to be beating on anyone, whatever.
Go to the gym, go to the car, listen to music.
Right.
I tell you, it works.
Well, with that Super Saiyan strength that he got, he just need to go in the backyard and pull up a tree or something.
Hey, something, man. Something.
Because he just got this damn incredible Hulk strength.
Yeah.
Pull out of a black hole. So we back to present day. Keyshawn goes over to Rome Suite. They're supposed to be going to the after party for Club Sapphire. Joseline is supposed to be having an after party. He's supposed to be going there. When he answered the door with the robe on, with the Versace robe,
with the Versace robe on, I knew what time it was.
I knew what time it was too. I
knew what time it was. I thought he was going to answer it ass naked. I thought he was going to answer it doing the Boy Johnson dance, and they're doing the helicopter, waiting for her to come in. That's what I thought she was going. You know what I'm saying? Waiting for her to come in. I was surprised he even had the robe on.
And of course, he's sitting here bragging about, she gives him the bag of money, and he's sitting here bragging about how he has changed her situation and how she's experiencing this all because of him. And that, where would she be if it wasn't for him, and how he's going to take her away from all her troubles and all this. And he also goes on to explain to her that he's extended the tour. And so, she's not kind of happy about that whole situation because she's supposed to be home. He's already talked to her husband about it, or her boyfriend, or whatever. And so he gives her this stiletto and says, well, the wig thing didn't work out. We couldn't work the deal out with the wigs or whatever, but I got you another deal for these shoes. And she was like, yeah, that's great or whatever. You get 3% on the revenue. She was like, 3% gross profit on revenue for a small market. That's not something that excites me. 3% on gross revenue for the wig line would definitely impact me because everybody out here buying these wigs. You know, everybody ain't gonna be out here buying these stilettos. You know,
you only got one demographic, and that's the strippers.
Mm-hmm. So she wasn't too happy for that, but I already think that was just a ploy to get her, you know, distracted a little bit. So he comes she goes into the bathroom to try on the shoe with her floss because she's got her floss on up under her jacket or whatever. And, you know, she goes to try the stiletto on with her floss or whatever case may. He comes in with the light on the camera and the robe open. And I'm like, man, here we go again.
Dude, why wouldn't this happen in this scene? I had a flashback to Players Club.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh God, here come Junior.
Here comes Junior. And she Ebony.
Jesus Christ. Here comes Junior.
And Roulette is Woddy.
Right.
Right.
That's what it felt like, man. But you know what? I'm happy.
He's trying to Junior her too.
You know what? I'm happy about this. I'm not happy about the scene, but I'm happy about the scene because what it did, it didn't show that Keyshawn was completely vulnerable and fall for everything. You know, like she has exposed vulnerability throughout, you know, this season and last season, but it just showed like she wasn't gonna fall for everything just because you helping me, or I don't even necessarily say it's helping me, or you finessing me out of the situation that I'm in. But it just shows that she's a lot stronger, at least to me, that she's a lot stronger than I thought she was in previous episodes.
I agree with that, Lauren. It's also how you treat a person all around. You can't treat someone crazy and expect them to be your right arm or support system. It's about things thinking before you the fact or not after. So I agree with that, Lauren. I totally agree 100%. With that. So he comes in with the robe open or whatever, and talking about you don't like what you see or whatever the case may be. She's like, Ron, put your clothes on. Like, what's going on? And, you know, he's trying to finesse her. Like, you think I'm doing all this for you? Yeah, you think I'm doing all this for you for money? You know, I want more than this. You know,
yeah.
He tried to rape her, and you know, she's able to fight him off or whatever. And when I seen her run away, I don't know why. I knew that she was going to Woddy. I don't know why, but you know, because let's go back to that scene when she was getting ready to leave, and he made a comment about the wig. He's like, I don't like that wig on you. He's like, you look better with your natural hair. Or whatever. So he actually paid her a legitimate compliment that she's not used to hearing from people. And so, you know, that kind of stuck in the back of her head a little bit. So I think that's what made her run back to Woddy because, you know, Woddy at that moment felt like the only friend that she had, you know, because she didn't run the Little Murder. She didn't run the Zeke.
She couldn't run the Little Murder.
Well, Little Murder was occupied. Oh, but in this situation, he also kind of blackmails her into sleeping with him.
Because of Little Murder's situation.
He's like, well,
so that's another reason why she read it to Little. That's another reason why she read it to Woddy because of that situation. Because Woddy kind of already understood the ins and outs of what Little Murder got. What Little Murder got going on as far as the sexuality go. So that's another reason why she read it to Little Woddy. On top of that, to Woddy. On top of that, I don't think she can run into Little Murder because one, Little Murder was occupied dealing with Big T. Two, because of the benefits that Little Murder was getting from that situation, she probably felt as though that she didn't want to put him in the middle of that. Teak just would have went nuts, or he maybe didn't even care, or maybe he just already felt he owed him a fade anyway. So Teak just probably wouldn't went off and killed him right then and there. So maybe that's another reason why she didn't tell Teak. Woddy was perfect. Yeah,
Woddy was a perfect person to run to. So he threatens her, basically saying that if you don't sleep with me, I'm going to release this video. So I guess it's implied that Rome had planted a camera or something in Little Murder's room and got last week's events on video and showed it to her. And so, even with that, she still didn't consent to sleep with him. She was like, no, this ain't right. You my manager, let's keep this professional. Now, I will say this, and I know I'm probably going to get eviscerated for what I'm about to say. If he would have approached her differently, if he would have had an attraction to her, and if she would have been attracted to him and it would have been consensual, I don't think it would have been a problem. But when she told him that she was not interested and that, well, the way he approached her was wrong altogether. But if he would have approached her more like, I got feelings for you. I don't like the situation that you're in. I want to be with you or whatever. And it led to a sexual encounter, that would have been different. But this was damn near rape right here. When she told him no, when she told him to close your robe up, he should have closed his robe up, and that should have been it. That's all. And so,
I
she's
think
going
that would have worked better. I think that whole situation would work better if it was Diamond. I don't think that would have worked better with Rowan. That Rowan wasn't their type. Like
yeah,
not
not
even
her
close.
type. Yeah.
Not even
Yeah.
not like you loud, you extra. This is kind of like a work. This is kind of like almost like an employee-employer relationship. Like I think that would have worked. I think that not with him, and not with Rome. Maybe with somebody else, but not with Rome because of the asshole that he was. Like he just like even before he decided to approach her, he was just an all around ass anyway. From the
Yeah, he
very
was.
beginning when they first met him at the Pink, that he just was an ass. So
Yeah,
I
and
just think
he
I
saw
don't think it would work for
opportunity.
him.
He saw opportunity beyond her talent. This was before he even saw her perform. This was before he even realized that she was a gold mine. He saw opportunity with her because she was a pretty face. So he was going to exploit that. So
And he probably pulled this. Like I texted you before, he probably pulled this off before, and he probably was more successful with it. With other artists
they're
or
starstruck.
whatever you want to call
They're
it. He
starstruck. They
probably
see money. They see
right.
fame.
But with her situation, especially with, I don't think she would have just because by her pulling that gun out on Diamond. I don't think it's nothing that Rome would have did because Diamond done everything right. In my eyes, he did everything right. He ain't necessarily push up on her like, yo, it's gonna be me and you. He tried to help her with a situation when he saw she was getting abused. He done everything right, and yet Diamond still got the gun pulled out on him. So that's why I just think it don't matter how wrong would it came, when it never came on her or whatever. It still would have went that direction. She still would have been like, nah. They probably would have maintained their relationship if he didn't try to. They definitely would have maintained a working relationship if he didn't try to rape her.
Yes. So the fact that, I mean, hats off to Woddy. Woddy did exactly what he should have done. He comforted her. He gave her a robe to cover herself up, and he was like,
Yeah.
"Yo, it's gonna be all right. Don't worry about it. It's gonna be all right." He didn't even let her know at that moment that he was gonna take care of her or anything, other than the fact that he was ready to go home. He
That was
saw to
gangster.
her getting home. He saw to her getting home safe, and don't worry about it. It's gonna be all right.
That was gangster.
So, um, and she reveals to him about the video. She reveals to him that that this is what he's wanted all along, to try to fuck me. And she's scared, and she's
Mm-hmm.
disappointed, she's hurt, she's embarrassed. But Woddy just comfort her in that moment, and that's all he
Mm-hmm.
needed to do. So we switch back to the past where she comes home after her stepmom didn't let her in for help, and Derrick has found roses from in the middle of the night. I don't know where he got all these roses from. In the middle of the night,
I have no idea. He might have got them from. He might have got them from Walmart. They got the 24-hour Walmarts everywhere. So he might have slid up to one of the Walmart superstore joints. Let me cop all the joints you got. You know what I'm saying?
flowers.
Yeah, let me cop all the joints you got and let me put it all on the floor. He paid $30.
Yeah, he paid $30 for all the flowers.
It's a thought that counts. It's a thought that counts.
It was a thought that counts. And even though she's wowed by this, but she's still kind of like, what is my life going to be like now? And he comes in, he does what every abuser promises never to do again. I'll never hit you again. I'll never do this again. I'm sorry, whatever the case may be. But I think in that moment, she realizes that she's in for way more than what she thinks this is supposed to be. We switch back to present day. Derrick is at home. Keyshawn's arriving home, and he's actually surprised to see that she's home early. Like, what are you doing home? So he's almost kind of getting mad about that. Like, well, what you doing home? Because she making all this money or whatever the case may be. You come home early, something must be wrong. And so she tries to she plays it off and like, oh well, we couldn't work all the dates out with the tour, so I decided to come home. I've been gone for two weeks or whatever the case may be. And he serves her a fucking hot dog. Your wife been
Yeah,
gone.
he was making the glizzies. He served
And you
her.
gave her a hot dog with no ketchup, no relish, no
Oh,
mustard.
man. It looked like it was one of them boiled joints too. Like it was the boiled glizzy. That's even worse.
So he's playing with Regal, and he's playing with Regal. And you think, I don't think we've talked about this in other episodes. We've asked ourselves, would he ever harm the children or whatever? And I think I've even said that I didn't think that he would harm the children, where I was wrong. So she goes to pick up their son, Jayden. I think this is the first time that we've really seen the fact that they actually had another child. And child's running away from her and crying, and is trying to cover up and whatever. And she knows something is wrong with the child, so she ends up taking the child to the doctor. Finds out the child's got a dislocated arm, and
Which they said was common. The dislocated arm, they first said it was common. It wasn't like, oh, this common. It wasn't until they saw the bruises on the back, then that's when they started investigating a little bit more. But the dislocated arm, I was like, what? Dislocated arm? Like, I ain't never.
I feel a little colorism with that particular scene too, because had that been a white child, CPS would have been there right then and there.
Oh, that's for sure.
CPS would have been there right there and there. So I thought that this was the opportunity that we were going to finally get to unalive Derrick. I just knew that we were going to be able to unalive Derrick when she saw the bruises on that child's back, and she went home. Instead of her going home with a gat, she went home with paperwork.
You know what? I thought she definitely was about to get that same blicky that she pulled out on Diamond. Yep. That same one that she pulled out on Diamond and say, "What up?" and be outside blowing on the horn, wait for him and her other kid to come outside. And it's going down right there in the middle of the street.
Listen, when she put that baby in that room and she closed that door, I said, "Oh yeah, she finna unalive him right now." She finna like, man, you should have went in there, got the biggest butcher knife you could find. You should have got that blicky. Like, listen, I'm thinking to myself that, this is it. He in there ironing that shirt. When he had his back turned, he was ironing that shirt.
Numbered, though.
I knew something was going to go on with that iron. When we see him iron that shirt, I was like, nah, she should have went ahead.
I think his days are numbered, though. Watch. I think his days are very, very numbered. Watch.
Yep. So she confronts him about the abuse or whatever. And at first he tries to deny it until she presents the paperwork. She presents the paperwork. They begin to argue. He assaults her. He beats her. He drags her back to the kitchen and threatens to burn her with the iron. She's screaming and begging for him not to burn her
my face.
Yes. And I'm like, please don't penny her. Please don't. Is that you, Penny? Listen.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Don't penny her. Oh, Jesus Christ. You know what? That part was like probably the most cringeworthy of the whole episode, honestly, because it make it seem like all she has is her face. All she has is her looks.
That's her moneymaker. But remember, Griffin told her that last season when she came into the club all beat up, and she was like, "Don't let him take your money away. This your money. Your face is your money."
Yeah, she's got that in her head.
Yeah, like she knows that.
Don't burn my face. Don't burn me at all. What the fuck you talking about? 80 rap on my face. Don't do this shit at all.
His justification for beating the child is the baby cries too much. He's 3 years old.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Of course he's gonna cry. So that just lets you know that he's mentally disturbed. He's frustrated, and I understand his situation. He can't get a job. Let's talk about that for a second. Why can't he get a job?
I have no idea. Didn't he go to college? Didn't he go to college? And did he get like, or did he just?
He did. I don't think that he
went to college because they was having a baby.
I guess so.
So okay, even with that being said, there's plenty of jobs that's out there. He don't have a criminal record. It seems like. So even if he had a felony, like if we just talking realistically, even if he has a felony, somebody out there is going to hire. We just talking about Walmart where he got those flowers from. He could have filled out an app while he picked up those flowers, and he could have been good to go. What do you?
You know why I think he can't get a job? This is why I think he can't get a job. His temperament. He's an angry white man. An angry white man is way worse than an angry black man. He's an angry white man. He's entitled. He's privileged. He feels like his looks, his color is supposed to get him over in life, and that's it. He don't feel like he needs any
And
other
foolish
credentials
pride.
besides being a white man. And when he's denied being a white man, he's angry. And that anger is shown every interaction that he has with any and everybody. How dare you not give me a job? I'm white society. That's the way I look at it. That's the way
And
he
it's his
personifies.
pride.
He has
Lord rest
called
his
her,
soul.
even in that scene where he assaulted her the first time, he called her a nigger bitch or a black bitch or whatever.
Called her a black bitch.
Called her a black bitch. And I'm thinking to myself, when Diamond told you back on that episode that he called him a gutter nigger,
but I think because she heard him say that out of his own mouth, I think that was the green light for her to go ahead and get him out of here.
Okay, Keyshawn, we talked about that off camera. Yes, his family does have money, but they denied him. They disowned him when he was with her, when he decided to be with Keyshawn, because in their first
he became a liability.
When he was choking her, he was like, my family disowned me because of you, and now I'm stuck with you, this nigger bitch or black bitch or whatever he called her. Now I'm stuck with you in this. You deserve this because you made me lose all what I had because I chose to be with you. So that's his way of.
That's his way of thinking. Like,
they
chose each other.
Him beating her. Yes.
They chose each other. And I also think like it's pride. He
Maybe
probably thinks
right. He is blacklisted. Yes, I agree with that. That's another reason why he can't get a
That's
job.
actually a good reason. That's
probably one of the biggest.
But he needs to get a small time job. That's why I'm saying. That's what I said. That's what I mean about his pride.
When they
I think
showed
it's just
the episode of him meeting with the sheriff, I thought he was actually trying to apply for a job with the sheriff's department. Instead, he was trying to file a complaint against David. Not David, but David.
he ain't filed no complaint against me.
Yeah, he was trying to file a complaint. You put a blicky on him.
Oh, I definitely would have.
He's very insecure. He's very insecure. He's
been insecure though. But he's been insecure though. It's his upbringing. His father didn't help out. The whole cheerleading thing or whatever damaged any security that he may have felt with himself. If he would have got encouraged, or if he would have got loved on just about a little bit more and accepted by his father, I think he would have been the all right guy. It's not that like he don't love. It's not like he never showed love for Keyshawn outside of the moments of whooping her, of whooping up on her. So he has shown love outside of those moments. You eliminate those moments, which we can't do. I understand. You eliminate those moments, it seems like they're the prototypical mixed couple, pretty much. But his father ain't do nothing for him. Yeah. Nothing at all. His father just owned the moment he decided he wanted to be a cheerleader.
Yep. And then the fact that now you with a black girl, that's even more rage and hatred towards you now, because now you're going against first of all, you're embarrassment to the family because you're a cheerleader. Now you with a black lady. Oh, you're even a bigger embarrassment. So that's it.
Yeah, and he don't know how to control that that rage. Like he don't know how to manifest that into being a success story.
They need help.
If anything, he's trying to prove his father wrong.
Keyshawn needs counseling from her trauma, from coming up, being disowned, for being dark-skinned. And we said that last week. That we felt as though Keyshawn had issues with her, because when she made that comment about how light her complexion looked on that poster with them lashes, we knew right then and there that she had issues with colorism. We didn't know the extent of them. So she needs counseling because of that, and Derrick needs counseling because he's been physically and mentally abused by his family, and he's now in turn turned to a mental and physical abuser as well. So they're two broken people that need a healing. And I hope that Keyshawn pull that blicky out and give Derrick his healing, because at this point he's crazy, he's demented. There ain't no fixing him.
Definitely,
he needs to be unalive. That's the only way we're gonna fix him.
He's on notice. I'm telling you, that black.
If you're anywhere in listening, we got to assign a new disconnection noticer, because all of our people that write out, Xavier ain't in here tonight, the Sonny ain't in here tonight.
Was he saying black bitch? That was his disconnection notice,
right?
Because she gonna be like I'm telling you, at some point they're gonna bring that up, and she gonna be like, you said you didn't call him this, but yet you called me a black bitch. It's going to come up. Like
Well, I don't think
Like,
he's going to stop because he pretty much confirmed that he wasn't going to stop beating the children.
Or with the kid, she was like, you could beat my kids. That could be another one. She gonna be like, oh, you still want to do this, huh? He could be beating on the kids in front of her, and here comes this blicky.
Yep, he's not going to stop because he told her right before he was getting ready to try to burn her with the iron. He said, "I will discipline my children however I want." So that was confirmation for me that he's going to continue.
I'm gonna discipline your ass however I want. How you like that?
Yep.
Yeah, so, how you like that?
We're gonna put Woddy on notice. Look, so speaking of it, so we get to the last scene. Woddy shows up real smooth. Woddy showed up real smooth to this
gangster as hell.
This sex party that Rome is having in his room, and you got all kind of stuff that's going on. You got
there was an oasis.
It was an oasis of a mess. So you got people here that's having sex. You guys got a whole fledged orgy going on here, and he's in the middle of it, coked out in the middle of it. Woddy pulls up on him and say, "Yo, we need to talk business. What are we going to do now that Keyshawn has went home?" And he says, "Well, first of all, I brought a gift for you." Man, I would have been suspicious. I just beat this bitch ass and tried to rape her. And, someone from her camp shows up now and gives me a vial of coke. My first reaction is not to spur the line and get ready to snort that. He was suspicious for a moment. He said, "Well, you hit it first." And Woddy went down there. He drug a line that he had already had down there. And this dumbass like, "Oh, okay, look at Woddy. Hey, Woddy getting high." I'm like, "Yeah, you go ahead and drag this line." He drug that line. He's like, "Oh, shit, I don't feel good."
He like the party.
Yeah. He was like, "I don't feel good all of a sudden." Woddy's like, "Yo, have you ever seen a person die before?"
Yeah. I knew what time it was. I was like, "Oh, yeah, he about to get ready." As soon as Woddy walked in there, I was like, "Oh, he about to get ready to OD this dude." Because he couldn't kill him, he couldn't shoot him, he couldn't stab him, he couldn't do anything. There was way too many people there. But the only thing that he possibly can do is either poison his drink or give him some bad drugs.
He did, and so he ends up giving him a vial of coke that's laced with fentanyl. And it's crazy because me and Real BTV did a true crime case about a young lady that was killed with fentanyl, and we felt like that it was given to her, it was administered to her by the person that was trying to have sex with her. Well, that's a whole nother story, but I like how he did that. He was like, "Have you ever watched a person die before?" He was like, "Yes, I saw my mom die," whatever. He's like, "Oh, yeah, okay." Then he started telling him about different scenarios about him seeing people die and how, they take care of their body and whatever. He's like, "At least with you can have an open casket." And I was like, if I was wrong, I was like, "Why are we having this conversation? What are you talking about?"
Yeah, it was too late. It was nothing he could do at that point. It was already.
You don't feel good. He was like, "Nah, I don't feel good." He's like, "I'll tell you what, I'll take the conversation from here." He's like, "What's up with that little movie you got?" And Ron tried to start backpedaling and dividing by two, carrying the one decimal point.
Like, nah, she told me everything.
And, he went up out of here, and Woddy winked at him. Yep, he's a killer. And so he's gone. Rome is up out of here now. He's unalive.
He said, "At least you got somebody to lead you to the other side.
At least you got someone." And then what's the name? We'll probably bury him.
So put him in that incinerator. To the other side. Most people don't get that. Yep. Hit that joint, winked at him.
Winked at him. That's it.
So it was time to go night.
Night.
So he was the killer. He was the killer in the room.
He was a killer. So I hate that I thought that he was going to kill him and find the phone. I thought that right before he got ready to leave the room that he was going to pick the phone up off the coffee table or something like that and get the phone. The phone is still out there, which means the threat of the video being found is still out there. So what do you think is going to happen with that?
I think that threat was already out there anyway, because once it's on your phone, they don't tell it. He might have sent this to somebody already. You never really know. So I just think just the phone. He is. Could have just played the Undertaker music when it came. After he went inside, he passed out. Could just heard the gong.
He got that deep voice. "Well, you ever seen anyone die before?"
Yeah.
Night.
I think that thread's still out there though, man. Because like I said, you can send it to anybody. It's once it's once it's in somebody's phone. It's like one of them situations where like when people put out private pictures of their phones, you don't want to do that because that person can send it to anybody. Same thing here. Once you put a video on your phone, it can go to anybody.
Yep.
It ain't telling who else got that video. It don't tell who else got the video. Whoever Rome may be close to, whatever may already had his video. Said, look at this dude. He's supposed to be gangster, but this is what we, or whatever. We're gonna put this out when I get back. So I think the threat is always gonna be out there.
It's a very powerful scene. I think Woddy did this for two different reasons. I don't think it was just for a little murder, because we see that he has little murders back, so he's a great friend.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to protect my friend's character. I'm trying to protect my friend's business opportunity. Like, he's got an opportunity to blow up, and right now Rome is a threat to that. But then what he did to Keyshawn and everything. So I just hats off to Woddy. Woddy, you get the award this week for being MVP. So you did what was best for the family. You did what was best for the family. So we drag Woddy for not being a good manager, but he's a hell of a friend. He's a hell of a
Woddy gangster.
Woddy gangster. So
yeah, she's died before.
And the episode goes off after that. So what do you think? Predictions. What do you think we're going to see? Or what are you thinking about the season so far? I mean, we're into the 5th episode so far. What are you thinking about the season so far?
Definitely. Besides one episode with the voodoo, besides that one episode, the rest of them are pretty good. I ain't like that episode at all. I hated it. Yeah. I hated it. I was like, oh, please don't do this to this show, because then I'm going to go straight up book 2, season 1, and just be like, oh, do I really got to watch this?
Yeah.
So I'm glad that they kind of right the ship on that. But I think it's pretty good. I wasn't expecting, like I said, I wasn't expecting an origin story. I think that it was definitely needed. It was necessary, and the way that they did it, the way that they laid it out in front of us. And
I think we needed that. I think we needed. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I think we needed that because we need to understand why Keyshawn pulled the gun on Diamond. We need to understand why she's so broken. We need to understand why she continues to allow herself to stay in this unhealthy relationship.
She ain't ready.
She ain't ready. She doesn't have the strength.
Even though everybody else sees, she not ready.
But I think we're also going to see a new relationship between her and Woddy. I don't necessarily think it's going to be a romantic relationship. It may lead to a romantic relationship because we know that Diamond has moved on to Big Bone now. But I think that Woddy is now going to become her new comfort zone, and she's going to be that person. He's going to be that person that she can go to for comfort. And I think with his encouragement that she's going to get the strength that she needs to unalive Derrick. And of course, we've already had offers presented to her to unalive Derrick, but she won't let anyone else. She has to be. Crystal said this before, and I agree with her. She's going to have to be the one to unalive Derrick. No one can
definitely when she's ready. She's not going to do it until she's ready. Like, it's like one of those situations where you don't want to keep hearing somebody crying. They come to you crying about the same thing over and over again, and you give them all these situations in order or to help them get out the situation, and they don't take heed to your opinion or to your advice. It will have to be when that person is. It rather be when that person is ready. And right now, she's not ready. I think personally, what's going to motivate her more than anything is those kids.
Yeah. It's gonna be those.
I think those kids. She not ain't no parent taking a beating on their kids. Like, it's sad to say that it's sad to say, but it's true. Is that some people will stay in an abusive relationship with them, but when it comes down to their kids, you forget about that.
That's right.
It's a line.
I think this was a very good episode. I think that we're going to get one more origin story. I think we could possibly get 2 more origin stories, but I think the next one is going to be Mercedes. I think that we're going to need to see Mercedes' backstory a little bit. They talk a little bit too much about her past. So I think we're going to see her in Patrice's relationship. I think we're going to get a little better understanding of what happened between her and Shell's husband or whatever. That's a possibility since we're doing origin stories now. It kind of reminds me of that season in Power where it was the very last episode of season 6, and they kept replaying that episode like 5 times through everyone else's perspective.
Yeah.
Where, we couldn't figure out who killed Ghost, but we saw through everyone else's eyes why they were justified in wanting to kill Ghost. I think we're going down a similar path with these origin stories. I think we could get one with Mercedes. So we'll see what next week's episode bring. I think Andre's going to start his campaign run next week. I think Haley's going to become his new first lady. I think that the situation is going to unfold a lot sooner than we think between Farrah, Mercedes, and Coach. I think next week is going to come out that, Farrah and Mercedes are kind of linking up and Coach is kind of being on the outskirts of that. So I think we're going to see a little bit more development with that story arc. And I think that someone else said in the comments that they don't think that the Dirty Dozen tour is going to be over. I don't think so. It's going to be over either. I think they're going to end up in Atlanta next episode. If they're not in Atlanta next episode, the one after that, they're going to end up hooking up with DJ Never Scared. We're going to get a new track.
Yeah, I think some people going to reach out and they're still going to make that tour happen. I think that we definitely going to see Andre make his
Say that she hoped that Woddy got all that money. I hope he got it too.
He probably didn't. That would have been a little bit too suspicious if he walked out with that money. He should have left that. But yeah, I think that you're definitely going to see his campaign start and begin.
That's a good one, Keyshawn. That's a good one. That was the second one I was thinking about. I didn't want to necessarily think that because I guess we do kind of need an origin story for Haley. We needed that way before now, as a matter of fact.
They kind of touched up on it a little bit, but they ain't go so the whole episode.
Yeah, they did. But I think we do need that. Someone had said previously, I don't know what episode we were real big on Haley, but someone said that they think that her daughter is still alive. So it could possibly be that we might get an origin story with her as well. So, and that may be towards the end of the season, like maybe episode 9 or something like that, when she goes to try to sell the club or something like that. I think we're going to get her backstory. I actually want to see her backstory. I actually want to see her backstory more than Mercedes. Because right now, I ain't seen it for your girl right now. So, that show can't do no wrong autumn night. But
I said in the last episode that I was like, man, I ain't really feeling the way that she moving.
Oh, you ain't feeling her no more. Okay.
I ain't really feeling the way that she moving. But Big Bone, on the other hand, she's such a lady.
Nah, Big Bone ain't what you think she is either. I think she's part of that gang. She in that gang, yo.
Nah, I think Big Bone's such a lady.
She in that gang with Montavious. Watch what I say now. Y'all know I secretly be writing on these shows. She in that gang with Montavious.
She's such a lady. That's fine. She can't be. She's such a lady.
That means she's a threat to the family, so I can't go up for her. She's a threat to the family.
So they gotta be careful who they let in the family.
That's right. They gotta be careful who they let. Haley let her in. That's the ironic part about it. Haley was the one that let her in.
I don't really agree with all her decisions. I definitely don't agree with the decisions she been making lately.
Yeah, she ain't moving right. All right, y'all. We appreciate y'all hanging out with us tonight or whatever. Hopefully, we'll have our whole crew back in the house next week. I don't think we've had the whole crew together since we've been doing P-Valley. So
I think week 2. It might have been week 2.
No, I'm talking about we need Miss Honey up in here. We need Xavier. We need Ebby.
Oh, yeah. We had everybody up in here.
We need the whole crew up in here. We need the whole crew up in here so we can really wild out. All right, y'all. We appreciate y'all hanging out with us tonight. Y'all have a happy 4th, and we'll be back next week. We'll see y'all.
Please be safe.
Please be safe out there. Drink responsibly, y'all. Don't drink and drive, y'all.